Hey, it's MK, and I am here with a Mixed Media Mayhem recipe for you guys today, and I'm also playing along with Off the Board, and today I am taking inspiration from an Allison Davis layout that she has created. Actually, I'm going to be pulling inspiration off of her background. So I've got this sticker sheet from the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Coastal line. I also have this laser cut, or these laser cut pieces that were from the Ultimate Scrapbook page kit or something like that from 49 and Market, this Sunburst collection. So I'm just sharing with you guys all of the laser bits that I have left over. At this point in my kit that I put together for my scrapbook cruise, I'm running low on paper, but I have a ton of embellishments left over. So this is where I start to really work on my pocket pages, because of the fact that I have, so much embellishments, and pocket pages allow me to use up papers that are not so pleasing for me in a more unique way. So I've pulled out my paint. That is part of my recipe. I've pulled out a stamp. That is also part of my recipe. And last but not least is the chipboard. So I have this chipboard set, again, from the 49 and Market Ultimate Page Kit collection. I'm going to be using this 3x3 squares along the top and the bottom, and then it's a 6x12 panel in the middle of this pocket page. So I'm pulling inspiration from this, from Allison Davis's, but then I also found this sheet here. It's also from the Ultimate Page collection. On the other side is the completed layout minus your photos, but I'm going to use the paint swipes, and I'm going to try to create my own because I want them to be a little bit more taller, so that way they reach into the 3x3 squares. So I'm going to go ahead and use, this is the paint that we used on the ship when we were doing our project together, so that way I know that the paint is cohesive. So I'm just doing the old swipe technique, which I was reminded again about this technique from Allison's layout, and that's where her layout comes into play for inspiration. Every time that I see a layout, I am reminded of techniques that, in all honesty, I forget about. I don't say that I try to stay up with the latest and greatest. That is not me. But honestly, it's hard to remember all the techniques. It's hard to remember all the things that we used to do back in the day, we used to do yesterday, we used to do tomorrow. It's just really hard to remember. And one of the things I love about my Pinterest boards is that I get to keep that inspiration pinned, and I get to go back and look at it at a later date and be reminded of a technique that I used to enjoy and I still do enjoy. I just forget to do. And this paint swipe technique is one of them. And it is so nice also to see designers like Allison reuse these older techniques. I mean, this technique is uber's old. I know that. I couldn't tell you how old this technique is. But if I'm counting, I've probably only done this technique about 3 times. In my albums. Maybe I've done it for a background, a mixed media background like I'm doing now, but I just never used the background. I'm not really sure. I just know that this technique is so far back in my memory banks that I don't use it often enough. And maybe it's because of the rainbow-y part of it that I shy away from, because it's rainbows aren't just my thing. They're not my thing. So yeah, I'm not really sure exactly. All right, so I have done my swatches. I have done my stamping, and then I decided to add a little bit of white paint with a packaging technique, but I wasn't really going for bubbles. I was really looking for a soft, subtle way to lighten up the colors. Then I realized that I just didn't have enough stamping like I wanted to. So I brought out this stamp. I have no idea who even made it, but it's a whole bunch of messy words that are illegible. And it's just the perfect size for pocket page, mixed media, or any mixed media at all where you're looking for a filler, basically. So I went ahead and filled that up, and I am very much more happy, if that's proper English, with how my pages are going. Now, I do have this part sped up quite a bit, you guys, because I wanted to leave all of this in play. I really wanted to share with you guys how I made my background, how I cut my background up ready for my pictures, how I am incorporating my pictures. I pulled out a ton of these pocket cards that came in the little kit that I purchased on the ship. I wanted to incorporate those. Now, at first, I almost decided they don't match one bit my entire layout. I do not want to incorporate these at all. I really like the rainbowy look. So what do I do? Well, I'm never going to use these pocket cards. If I don't use them, I'm not going to use them, right? So I decided, regardless of whether or not they fit or match, I'm going to add them to my pocket cards. I pull inspiration from several people that do pocket cards, that do pocket scrapbooking, right? I definitely pull that inspiration. And one of the things that inspires me is that when they make a layout, it's about each pocket. It's not about a cohesive layout all the way across all the pockets. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's, well, on this day we did this and this day we did that. And really they look at their pocket as a week span or a monthly span, depending on how they are scrapbooking. And so they don't see it as one cohesive page like I tend to do. And so I embraced that this go around. I know that for those of you just looking, it's like, that's those, wow. I probably would not have done that. But if I didn't have the pocket cards, I probably wouldn't have done it either. But I do like how our adventure begins. We're coming up to the Coco Cay Island. I have a card. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have a card that specifically has the balloon that is featured on the island. So I couldn't leave that out. I really wanted to incorporate that. And I love the splash of color on especially the darker pieces. The lighter piece I really struggled with. I almost left out the lighter splash. I really did. But I do like how it comes in from the corner. I know that I tried it in about seven different places trying to find its home, and that upper left corner was where it's going to be. All right, so now that I've got my pictures done and all that spanned across my 6x12 panel, I'm going to go ahead and put these back in the pocket page. Now, what I did with my pictures, and they probably don't look good, but my pictures were basically two pictures taken spanning across the whole island, and I glued them together as if it was a panoramic. Even though I didn't do a very good job of matching them up, I did not take a panoramic, which I don't know why I did not. But yeah, I just wanted them to look like it's one cohesive photo. And then I tried to cover up the seams using my embellishments and things like that. So that's why I've got my pictures going on there. So glued one piece backwards, had to flip that around real quick. Sometimes I get confused. It's okay. And sometimes I also glue them backwards when I flip it over. And then I twist it when I glue. Like when I'm adding the adhesive, I accidentally rotate my piece. And then I'll just pick it up and glue it down without matching it back up. So that's on me. Here I did it again. I was gluing the wrong pieces. When you glue back to back, you start on the left on one side and on the right on the other side if you want them to match. If not, they'll go out of order, if that makes sense. It's a process. I'm not going to lie. The remembering which side goes on what side and which way it's going to look, it's definitely a process. Okay, so everything else that I'm going to be doing with my layout or with my pocket cards is all going to be on the outside. Now, I do know that I still need to pull out my cruise bucket list, so I'm not going to cover up that because everything on this side is where I can pull everything out. So that my pockets open on this side, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I am going to want to pull out that cruise bucket list. So I made it a point not to cover up that, that slit. So I can still pull that out and put it on. At this point, because this is our second excursion that got canceled, on my bucket list is to actually go on an excursion. We were joking on the boat at dinner time after this that, to be honest, we're saving money because we keep getting refunded for the excursions that we can't go on. And so it's just super funny that we aren't able to spend our money. I know that sounds crazy. But yeah, by this day, we were making fun of how we were making money on the boat rather than actually, spending it like some people always say. So it was kind of cool. But after this, everything started looking up and we got to go on our excursions and we had a great time in class. I mean, it was just fabulous. All right, so I finished my embellishments on one side. Now I'm going to be working on the other. And like I said, I am going to be working on the outside. The only thing that was on the inside was my 6x12 panel. I do have to say that working on the back side is a lot more less thought process because of the fact that I don't have to worry about the openings. I don't have to worry about having access to any of these pockets like I do on the front side. So, and the only pocket really that I needed to have access to was the bucket list so I could fill it out, which I do not do on camera, you guys. I really don't. It's just going to be a silly little thing about, how, at this point we just want to go on one excursion. That's it. Just one. But we do end up being able to go on our last two excursions. So that was super fun. I'm going to go ahead and finish off with this little Love This Place. It was a cute island, you guys. This is the island of Coco Cay. Obviously, it says it in the photos. And like I said, I merged my two photos together to make it look like one cohesive island. I loved the close-up of the island, and then on the other side is the far away picture of the island, so you can see it from end to end, and I really do like that as well. I just really didn't need both photos, right? I really didn't need honestly, I really didn't need the photo that was on the left of this one, but I liked where I could see the side of the ship from my photo. Even though I covered up some of it, I really did like that. And I almost did not keep that photo, you guys, but I threw it in there anyways. All right, so that is my layout for today. I do love pocket pages, even though sometimes they don't make sense. Like these ones here with the random pocket cards. But yeah, I really do like the cruise bucket list, the little splashes coming from the bucket list. And I just love all the color that is on this layout. And I did not want to do color matching. I think that is way too hard on a pocket page. So I definitely wanted to make sure that, where I made my clusters, I had all the colors represented, either in the background or in the cluster. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. As usual, I have my links down below. I have my Mixed Media Mayhem playlist link, my Off the Board playlist link, as well as my album link for Mixed Media Mayhem in case you want to go and see everyone else that doesn't have a YouTube channel they participate in these recipes as well, and they go and post them in our Facebook group. So I link the album in case you guys are already part of the Facebook group. So I also have the Facebook group linked down there if you are not a part of the Facebook group. And yeah, that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much, and I'll check y'all later. Bye.